Can we talk for a minute about our Integrating Heart and Mind workshop?
Absolutely. I'm excited. It's coming up in the fall of 2024.
I'm so excited. We changed the format to make it more accessible to people with like work schedules and personal schedules. And so this time we're going to do it 3 hours on a Friday afternoon or evening, depending on where you're at, and 5 hours on Saturday for 2 different weeks in September.
Yeah, it's so great. Like if you're finding yourself stuck in like sticky bad patterns or having communication issues or something like that, or if you want to just like get closer and trust yourself or your partner more, this is the workshop for you.
Yeah, and individuals are welcome, couples are welcome. If you're interested in really thinking through how to serve yourself well inside of your relationships, then we've built a workshop that will support you in finding the ways that are just right for you.
To sign up, head over to our website at whydoesmypartner.com/events.
We hope you'll join us. Welcome to the Why Doesn't My Partner podcast.
I'm Jules.
I'm Vickey.
And I'm Rebecca. We're your hosts. We're also couples therapists and messy humans bumbling through our own relationships every day.
We met through our training and practice of relational life therapy. Between us, we have more than 40 years of experience holding hard relational questions with our clients. We're going to bring those questions here.
And together, we're going to take a stab at answering those questions. This podcast is not a substitute for therapy. If something you hear in this episode stirs something deep within you about your relationship, reach out to a couples therapist in your area.
We also love to hear your questions, so don't forget to go over to whydoesmypartner.com and leave us a question of your own. Here's today's question. So today, a listener wrote in, why does my partner refuse to apologize when I feel hurt by what they did or failed to do? Their reaction when they didn't clearly do something wrong is, I'm not responsible for your feelings. You're too sensitive.
And my first thought with this one is because your partner is stuck in first consciousness needing to be right versus second consciousness, relational mindfulness, where our agenda is all about we and us and connection.
Right.
Yes.
So I want to slow that down, Vickey, because what you just said was so genius. So when we're stuck in first consciousness, i.e. you versus me consciousness.
Yes. Thank you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm likely to be more interested in being right or controlling what you're feeling or thinking.
Yeah.
Or in a space of maybe withdrawing or walling off. Maybe I'm being dismissive with that. You're being too sensitive. Maybe that's my way of walling.
Mm-hmm. Protecting myself.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing that.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yep.
Yeah.
Because of self-preservation and apology, it requires us to come into more consciousness about how our space is affecting you in this moment. Am I getting it?
Yeah.
And I think there's another really important piece that this is like pointing us right towards, that if I'm going to show up in that space of us consciousness to really connect with you and make sure that I'm getting this right, that this has to, for this moment in time, be a unilateral conversation. If you're coming to me in a state of disrepair, then I need to show up by putting myself at your service. It's not going to be a conversation. It's a one-way street.
Yeah. So wait, you have to break that down too. So let's imagine you and I are married.
Okay.
I love that scenario, by the way.
I do too.
Totally
It's
into
totally
it.
okay
Let's
with
do
me.
it next time.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's imagine you and I are married and I've hurt your feelings in some way. Let's say I didn't do something that you wish I had done.
Right.
Maybe it wasn't even asked for. I had no idea. Right. How could I have possibly gotten this wrong? You didn't even tell me, lady. Right. Okay. So let's imagine that's happening. What you're saying is when you come to me and you tell me that you're upset, my immediate thought needs to be, oops, hold on. Rebecca's not okay. And so this is all about Rebecca right now. This has nothing to do with me or what I think or want.
I want to say yes and.
Yeah, say yes and. I love it.
So yes, and you're doing that flip in service of the relational space between us.
Thank you. Not necessarily in service of Rebecca.
Right.
Well, being in service of Rebecca is in this moment in service of this larger dynamic between us.
But in the moment that I'm not
kind of liking being on this end of it.
We're all here to service Rebecca. That's what's happening today.
Well, because, and the only reason I interrupted with that is because in our unhealthy brain, it feels like Jules versus Rebecca.
Right.
So if I'm in service of Rebecca, I have to sacrifice.
Now I'm abandoning myself.
Yes.
Right. That.
Yeah.
But an apology.
That's not it.
It's not. It's this functional relationship move.
Yes.
Because it's like it's empowering and disarming your partner. It's putting them in a position where they're able to reconnect with you.
Yeah, it's basically repair.
It's totally repair.
Yeah, which is where trust is built, by the way. And I'm not interested in promoting relationships that don't have friction. Because we build trust not through those perfect moments. We build trust in the moments where it was frictiony and then we worked it out. And so an apology is one of your fastest ways to repair. It's certainly not the only one, but it's one that's worthwhile.
And the opposite is true too. Because if I don't move into this space, right, and I don't put the relationship first, if I don't move into the space of checking in with my partner and moving and trying to disarm them and reconnect with them in that way, then I'm going to escalate this discord between us.
Yes.
Now we're in for a bad night. Yeah. It's kind of like, what night do I want? Do I want to sit down with you and have a glass of wine and watch Ted Lasso together? Yes, I do.
Yes.
Yes, I do. Everybody knows it's my favorite.
3 times.
3 times in a row, I will watch it. Same episode, guys. Same episode. So that's how much I love it. So I'd love to have that. In order to have that, we have to move through repair.
Yeah.
So I love this piece, Vickey, that you're bringing in to start us off. The reason why, so we're asking why is this not happening? Because we're not thinking about the we, we're thinking about you versus me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the why.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about both sides of that, how that could be happening. That it could be about it being really hard to apologize for some reason. I'm thinking about it culturally. I think we should break that down.
I think we need to break that down.
Then after, can we break down what it's like to receive apology too?
Oh my God,
because that could be actually what's so sticky.
And I think there's another piece also that we need to add in there, which is about the art of actually apologizing. Like, how do we do that and do it well?
Yes.
We are going to give you guys a map. We are not leaving this episode without a map for exactly how to do it. It's a 3-step process, super simple. Yeah. All right. So, okay. It's simple and it's absolutely excruciatingly difficult simultaneously. I'm going to tell you that right up. So can I tell you why I'm in love with apology and why it's one of my favorite relational skills of all time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it's mine too, by the way.
So I love so this comes straight out of my work with Terry Real, and he's the one who said this. I don't know who else said it in the world, but I know it from him. It's that there's 3 pillars, 3 things you need to do all the time to have a really good relationship. And all your skills are going to be built off of these 3 foundational pieces. They are vulnerability, empathy, and accountability. And the reason I love apology is because you're actually using all of them at once.
And you're using all of them no matter which role you take.
Right. Whether you're being apologized to or you're doing the apology. So you want to build really good relational skill, you go home and you learn to apologize. So get this. Let's say we're going back to that situation. I want to have a lovely night with my wife, Rebecca. And here she is, and she's telling me she's upset. The first thing I have to do is empathize. I have to care about why she's upset and try my best to put myself in her shoes and get it. Then I got to notice that maybe something I did or did not do affected her in this way. Maybe it was intentional. Maybe it wasn't. But it happened, and I had some part in it. We're moving into accountability. And then I have to say all that out loud, knowing it may blow up in my face and she doesn't think it's good enough anyway, which is super vulnerable. Also, I have to like, when we go over the map, you guys will see the map I've got is on the vulnerable side. It's really admitting to some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I'm listening to you apologize, I've got to be able to have some empathy for the fact that you're showing up for me in this moment.
Yeah.
You're really listening and you're trying to hear where I'm at, and you might not get it all right. And well, we have different life experiences. We see the world differently.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that you're putting yourself out there and that you're holding some accountability, even if it's not every single thing that I'm thinking of that you did wrong in that moment. And that's really vulnerable for me too, because that's exposing kind of my pain and my hurt.
Totally.
Yeah. You can't acknowledge and accept an apology without acknowledging that you were hurt to begin with.
Whoa. Slow down.
Say that again,
Say it
Vickey.
again. You have to say it again.
That was really
Everybody
good
needs
quote.
to hear this.
That was a good quote. I mean, you can't acknowledge and accept an apology without acknowledging that you were hurt in the first place.
Which means you are hurtable, which means you are vulnerable.
Vulnerable.
And
It's
how much
scary.
in this world do we not like to let people in on that truth that we are vulnerable?
Vulnerable.
Oh man, our culture is built to not apologize. Our culture is built on a self-esteem structure that's all about achievement. And so basically, if you're not constantly getting better and being amazing, you're a worthless piece of poo and all that. And so, so a lot of times people don't like to apologize because it sends them right down that rabbit hole into, oh, I guess I'm worthless now.
Not perfect.
Why would you even want to be with me then?
Yeah.
And okay, Jules, I love how you could connect the self-esteem and the self-esteem and vulnerability I get. I did not expect the apology piece to be linked at all to self-esteem. So I'm kind of fascinated by how those all fit together
huge.
and the messages that we get. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, so much of this world that we live in is built on, if there's a group of people or a person or somebody for me to look down my nose at, then I can feel better about myself because there's somebody doing that to me. And right. So there's this, it's a survival piece. I want to feel better about myself. So I have to look at you in a way that it's not healthy.
Yeah.
Right. It's not relational.
It's the cycle of contempt.
It's the cycle of contempt. And it's this world that we live in.
Yeah. Oh, this thought just came to me. So because of this, sometimes people won't apologize because they go into a shame pit, but how that shame pit shows up, right, is like, oh no, I'm a terrible human. And then we collapse into it. And now the person who was wanting the apology is now taking care of me because I'm the one who's falling apart. And in that way, shame is super self-centered. So in order to do an apology well, you have to not go into a shame pit.
You have to hold yourself in warm regard.
Right. So you have to separate yourself from the behavior.
Right.
Yeah.
And it could even be a behavior I didn't intend or didn't know was going to be a problem. That does not mean I don't apologize.
Right. That's why I was shaking my head when you said it, because why would I apologize for something that I didn't do on purpose and I didn't mean to hurt you?
I didn't intend for that.
I have an answer for us, and it's very reality-based, and it's very empowering, and it's going to be hard for us to hold because you affect things in your world. You are that powerful. And if you do not acknowledge it, you are going to go running all over the place, affecting people in ways that you do not intend.
This is,
and if you don't take that feedback, so I have a U-turn for all of our people, is if you're really bad at apology, it'd be a good time to slow down and turn in and wonder about why for you. Do you go to a shame pit? Do you go to a space where you call yourself bad? Not like shamey bad, but like almost like worthless, like dialogue. Do you not do it because you don't want to admit you're wrong? do you not do it because you don't want to admit that you have as much power as you have to affect the world around you? Like, why?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you're causing someone else's feelings. The feelings are a space where we're mixing what's happening in the environment and everything I've ever known and everything about who I am and all of my DNA. And magically, a little emergent self is created in that moment that has a feeling. It's a very complicated process. Nobody's making somebody feel something. But that doesn't mean I don't affect people and that I shouldn't be thoughtful about that.
So like, as I'm hearing you talk about this, I'm hearing about accountability. I'm hearing about empathy. I'm hearing about vulnerability. It's like all in there in that description.
Yeah, that's why I think apology is genius.
It's totally genius.
And if you're a person who doesn't do it, this is just an invitation for you. It's like a challenge level invitation.
This is
you turn and be curious about why.
Yeah. I mean, like this is master level relational skills that we're talking about here.
It really is.
Yeah.
And because it is, if apologies are new to you, or if you're not really somebody who does them, know you're going to bumble it like crazy. And that's cool because you're trying and that means something.
Yeah. Awkwardness is so sexy.
Awkwardness is so amazing, brilliant, lovely. We should have more of it. Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Let's talk about how to apologize, because I think there's a few really important pieces in here. One of them is that we need to be able to put ourselves aside and really listen really well.
Yeah, which is a whole separate skill than speaking.
Yeah.
I know that sounds obvious, but it's just not obvious in relationships.
Really, what you're saying is so important. And I'm cluing into this thing that was in the question, the idea of someone being too sensitive. If you find yourself saying that in your head, know that you did not listen very well. That is a moment of lost empathy.
Yeah.
And it may be that they have a very different experience of the world than you, and you may not have the same sensitivity. But if you find yourself saying that, like, probably you lost your empathy meter.
Right. Right. And then there's this other piece of apologizing, which is about how we respond. Right. And that's where we do this work of being accountable for something, right? Where we acknowledge what we can acknowledge. Jules, do you want to kind of walk us through this? You have a beautiful way of talking about it.
Yeah. So there's 3 steps for an apology, and it follows this map. It says, 1, I acknowledge I did the thing. 2, I acknowledge it's not the first time I've done the thing. I acknowledge, you know what? It's actually probably my stuff and part of my character, and I really got to work on this. So,
that feels so freaking vulnerable, though, because now I'm giving you ammunition that you can maybe use against me.
I am.
I'm admitting who I am.
I'm trusting you with who I am. I'm putting my heart in your service.
You're walking into the lion's den.
And it is a gift to you because you are hurt. And I love you and I care about that.
And it's a gift.
And it's a gift. So apology is not expecting forgiveness. Apology is not expecting you to respond a certain way. Apology is not expecting you to accept it. It is truly a gift. And that means it is totally fine for the other person to say no, thank you.
Which makes it incredibly vulnerable.
It's so vulnerable. I'm accepting the potential of rejection in this massive vulnerability. So let me give you an example. So let's say I'm not paying attention to my husband's feelings. That would not be the first time that happened. Right? So it goes something like this. Oh my God, you're so upset. And I missed it. I completely missed it. I didn't say anything about it. You were being really clear about it. And I didn't even acknowledge it. And you know what, sweetie? I actually do that a lot. The truth is, I grew up in a family that dismissed emotions all the time. And I think they taught me to respond to your hurt by walling off and shutting down from you. I understand that's a huge problem. I'm so, so sorry. And if you want a gold star, you ask for something that would help you out. You know what would be great? Could we come up with a hand signal or a word where if you catch I'm doing that, you could say that or do that hand signal, and I will know what you mean, and I'm going to show up for you immediately every time you do it. I may not show up well, but I'm going to show up and tell you I care.
So
now that's an apology.
That's
right. That's
massive. And
yeah.
do you know what I'm thinking about when I hear that though? I'm thinking about all the fights that I've had with my partner or that my people have come in and told me in my office that have like been like 2 or 3 days long, or at least like 3 hours when we're trying to go to bed at night. And that, what you just did there was like, man, that was quick.
It's so fast. And it could be over something small. Like, you're right. I didn't unload the dishwasher today. I didn't do it again, even though we've said this was my task and I agreed to it. I am so overwhelmed. I think I'm agreeing to shit I shouldn't agree to. That's an old habit of mine. You know what? Could we actually have a meeting later and redo our stuff? And I'm so sorry. I keep accidentally dumping stuff I said yes to on you.
So now I'm thinking, boom, like boom. I'm thinking, oh my God, now we have maps to get to know ourselves better. Like this is helping me. It's not just like, I'm not just vulnerable. I'm bearing myself to you because I want you to know me. I want to know me, and I want to know you, and I want you to know you. Like I want us to know each other. And so this is like, it's taken a whole different shape if I can move into this space.
Right. But it's hard. And if you've never done it, it's going to take you moving away from the situation, doing your map out, making sure your map doesn't have accusation in it, making sure it's all about you and your part in whatever it was, that you don't take in ownership for something that you don't believe is yours. So let's say it hurt you and your partner's saying it's entirely your fault that I'm hurt, right? So we don't want to say yes to that because that doesn't feel right to me. But what I could say yes to is, I did the thing. I can see that hurt you.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So we want to do that. And sometimes you're going to have to work through it or even read it or write it down in a letter first in order to get your feet under you so you can do it as fast as I did with the dishwasher example.
And that's okay too. I have so many clients that don't want to practice it or don't want to write it down like you just said, because it should come more naturally than that. And it's not going to come naturally the first few times, few thousand times.
And by the way, if you and your partner are listening to this episode together, you're going, yeah, let's do this thing. When somebody bumbles it, could you celebrate them for trying?
Oh, that would be so nice.
If somebody apologizes and you weaponize it, you throw it in their face, you say, you know what, that's not a good enough apology for me. You just set them up to not apologize to you in the future.
Yeah.
Right. So it's on both sides of it. That's something to look at. Like, wait a second. Does my partner not apologize because they're bad at apologizing? Or do they not apologize because I'm bad at receiving that?
Yeah. Oh, this is a whole culture changing conversation.
It is, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I love apology.
Me too.
And I'm a bumbly human.
Yes.
I'm getting better at it every day, and I'm not great yet. I'm just working through it.
And you know, our bumbles are like what also like helps us to connect to each other. The fact that you're bumbling through it, like that actually helps me feel like I can bumble a little bit too. If you were perfect at this, I'd be really intimidated and feel like my bumblingness had no place and I'd have to be more defended. So I welcome your bumbles.
Exactly. Right. I'm thinking like first time it goes, I did the thing. Wait, what else was supposed to happen next? Shit.
Yeah.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Risk it anyway.
Let connection be the agenda.
Ooh,
yeah, that is a perfect place to stop. Let connection be your agenda. When someone is hurt, let connection be your agenda.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Have a
good day, week,
night, whenever,
wherever you are.
Wherever.
All right. Love each other best you can, guys.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
That wraps up this week's episode. Join us again next week for another Why Does My Partner?
We hope that you continue to listen wherever you get your audio and that you'll follow the show.
To go deeper, join us at our boot camp. You'll find the next date at whydoesmypartner.com.
Did you know you could ask us your question?
Your questions are relational gold.
Go to whydoesmypartner.com to either write in or record your question for a future episode.